3 members are present. You want to talk about minutes from anything in the past?
Let me just, what's the time? It is 3:28 on October 18th.
Yeah. Is that the minutes from last month?
Yeah.
Let me see.
Can I give you the paper, the original? I've almost got to the last,
Oh, okay, you made a copy.
Yeah.
Okay.
October 18th.
Okay, bills read and signed, scheduled meeting for the new town administrator. Possible time,
Are you reading this?
circle. Talk possible trying to,
Can you just hang on 2 seconds, darling? Hold on. Can we get this in? Here. There. I just transcribed it, so it's a little.
oh,
much.
you've transcribed it already.
Just working on it. I was down to the
All right.
last thing.
Okay. Buildings, this is last month, and
Yes.
scheduled a new meeting with the town administrator, which I was coming up after that, and I was going to discuss a variety of things with her. Take up the topic of cemetery maintenance work in the old,
Volunteer cemetery
Yeah.
maintenance. Yep.
discussion possible tying in South Cemetery
Paving.
And that is another matter that we've had laying, and then the matter of trees in the old burying ground. And then discussion of the South Cemetery well and the legal agreement there, which we talked about. It's no problem, but the point is that the owner of the
Needs to be reaffirmed.
Adjacent property that this involves has passed away. And while there's no reason that changes anything in that, but that's a matter. And the water tank at the North Cemetery has been kept filled by highway.
So let me interject. The next piece is the 5 shrubs at South. We'll make a list to which ones to get rid of, which ones are maintained, which ones are not. Tree overhanging the sheds and the other dead ones are on this list.
Yes, that continues to be an issue.
Right. And then this meeting adjourned at 3:38 on 20th of August, 2022.
Wait a minute. No.
20
September.
20th of September. I'm sorry.
Yes.
20 September. Thank you.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Seconded.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We've all voted in favor, unanimous. Next issue, bills and accounts. What have we got? We have the bill for the superintendent's pay, and we've got burials amounting to $300.
That's a battery for the mower, one of the new mowers.
And a new battery for a mower.
And then there's also the those envelopes I ordered.
Yeah, and I purchased some envelopes for business, for you to do your
Business.
correspondence. That's fine. And what's this?
That's the
Invoice for Amazon Business.
that's the envelopes.
Oh, that's the envelope. Oh, okay. Yeah, alrighty. Any questions about those?
Bills for September, correct?
Yes.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, so those we will, we'll sign the authorization of payment. A lot of burials this last, and most of them,
Ashes. There was 6.
were ashes, but
6 of them.
6 of them.
And I've had
3 of them in one day.
yes. I've had 1, had 3 already. I've already had 3.
Yeah.
One was a double, and I've got one the end of the month and one somewhere in between, so.
Yes, yes. The day that was to be, I got a call, I don't know, a day or two before, that somebody wanted to do a full burial that same day in the same time period. And I said, I don't know, I gotta talk to people to figure that out. Well, by the time I got back to talk to them, they decided to go elsewhere, so.
Weren't they looking for a green burial? Weren't they looking for a green burial?
Yeah. They didn't want, it was somebody that didn't want to do a vault. And they were gonna try somewhere else, see if they could do it without a vault. Yeah. At any rate, that was the crux of that one. Fortunately, that went away. Most of the same issues that have been on our agenda are still there to deal with. I don't know that we've got to take any action on them here, because we've already authorized action in some of them, but we've still got to get them done. And we have talked to other people in the town, particularly about the driveway projects.
I talked to Fred the other day,
Yeah,
and he asked me what type of top we use. So I dug out the papers from the original for down the south, and he talked to me the other day, and he had met with Amarillo Paving down on Brigham, and he's doing something on Jones Road, and they were down to South Cemetery too, and then he had another one coming from Middlesex to,
so he's getting some prices.
he's getting people that are actually responding back to him and coming out, and he doesn't know if it'll be, depends on the schedule, it could be the fall or it could be in the spring. But he also knows we have one of our things has a sunset clause.
Next June.
And I also told him that, because he said something about the paving at North, I said one of ours was strictly for south, but the other one was paving in the cemetery, so
general.
there is a flexibility
Yeah.
there. So
Yeah.
he is aware of that.
Yeah,
When I said, I talked to him the other day about that.
okay.
So that is actually making some progress. Let's hope the weather stays nice. For many reasons.
Do we have any new issues?
No, just a couple of, I was curious what, the tree at the center cemetery, that's all. When you talk to,
I have talked to the town administrator a little bit about that. The town cannot do work on trees off the town's property. Our insurance won't cover it. That doesn't mean we couldn't engage a tree service to do it,
yeah,
if we were to get involved that way. But we also have got to talk to the abutting owners, and that it's high on our list at this point, is to begin some talk to abutting owners so that we can see about dealing with that.
is that going to be solely on us for a cost, or is that going to be on,
Well, you wouldn't know that
Other-
until you talk to them, because they might want to have the tree down.
no, I'm talking because of, has to do with the,
Well, the thing is, if their tree falls on our property and does damage, then they could be liable.
yeah.
Especially, we have to send that letter, because the liability needs to be established by the form of us notifying them that
If we,
we're concerned about that.
yeah,
That firmly establishes their liability. If we send them a letter that it's kind of cast in stone. That's the, having worked in Newton, Wellesley, Weston, Concord, Sudbury,
Yeah.
that's what you do, and the court goes, well, they sent you a letter, the tree's down in their yard, you gotta pay. I mean, that's, you do that. That's how they
And
handle it.
perhaps we should send such a letter preparatory to talking more about it.
I
Get
would
the
talk
ball-
with them
get the
first.
ball
I would
rolling.
talk with them
Talk with
first.
them first,
I would
okay.
seriously, because it is a legal formality, and you see how the conversation goes.
Yeah,
And then
right.
you might have your letter composed, and you might recompose it after you have the conversation, but you should, say, look, we've got this antique thing, we're gonna put it in, how do you guys feel? This tree is it sick? Is it ailing? Is it ailing? It's
Well,
losing
one
leaf?
of them is, got a lot of dead stuff up high.
Yeah,
The one that
Yeah.
is the maple is actually the one that fell off into the cemetery last 2 years ago. It's part of that. Big maple.
That was part of that.
That was
Yeah.
part of that
And
one.
now there are at least two more parts of it that could easily go.
yeah, right? Definitely, just give them the nod. I mean, you don't have to say, you need to say, look, we gotta do something about this tree. If you guys are aware that it's a problem, here we are telling you, that this is a problem.
Yeah.
And we can't be paying to clean up your mess in the cemetery, because that's not what your tax money's for.
Well, the other thing is we want to forestall having an accident that causes
Yes,
problems.
precisely. You're better at saying those things
And
than I am.
so, we'll,
Yeah, that's why you say those things, and then see how you see how they react. If
Yeah.
they're like, we have no idea what you're talking about, well, you've given them notice, and then you can
come
write
take
it.
a look here.
And you can, meet me outside. We'll
Yeah.
come and look on Tuesday, and then you look, and then you send them a follow-up letter that
If we-
clearly.
yeah.
Well, you just do that because that documents. You say
I know.
per our conversation in the backyard of the old burial
Yeah.
ground, we noted we
Yeah.
showed you the tree, and it's this many feet from here and there, and triangulate the location, and so it's really clear what the heck you're talking about. And
I mean, if it were me and that was on my land, I'd not only cut that one, but the next couple too, and get them done and out of the way.
well, you can
But there are also, some people look at it, sometimes they forget about it because it's so far away from anything that's
Well,
of
you-
any value
you
to
can
them, they just don't.
It's on their property line and it's far from their buildings.
well you can
Yeah.
but you can also state
Some
that
people don't know that.
you can
either.
also state that detail in the letter,
Yeah.
telling them that they,
Oh, yeah.
an economy of labor, when you have the tree guys come, you might want to think about taking down the scrawny ones that are next to it, because the guy's there with his chainsaw, and it'll be wood for the winter. I mean, there's ways to say it to make it like,
Yeah.
because if you don't say that, they could come back to you 3 years later and go, why didn't you tell us to do those too? We would have done those. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
Because people aren't always thinking.
So we need to talk to them and see
Yeah,
where
we
we can
do.
get with that.
Yeah, we
And,
do.
Move that one ahead too. Are there any other issues we've got laying on?
Action items, talk to neighbor. I don't. Neighbors or neighbor? Neighbors. Is there two trees or one?
It's one neighbor.
One tree, but I think part of it hangs over
Yeah, but it's one
It's
one neighbor.
on one
The
property.
land that
Land
has
is
trees
on-
on it is
Talk to
one neighbor
neighbor.
as far as this area is concerned. On that
Follow up
side.
with letter.
Yeah. And that is also near their line with the neighbor on
right next to the cemetery.
Linden Street too. The wind blew a different way, it might land on their land,
Right.
so. At any rate, we'll make a first pass with those folks.
Dying maple.
I know that the Hearst House Committee of the Historical Society was meeting with the Select Board last night. I haven't heard anything further about it, but I was unable to attend because I had another meeting I had to do. They originally had scheduled it for another night that I would have been there, but for that night I was tied up. So I don't know what's happening there, but I am gonna hope that that's proceeding in some way. But they also were concerned that that tree could be a hazard for the earth.
Oh, yeah.
Anything else at north or south of?
Well, one of the things I had when I had the burials the other day was, one of the undertakers was this, and I think it needs to be done, but is the size of the monuments that we're putting on when the person buys a single grave. The size of how big they are, because then you're crowding right on somebody, top of somebody else. I think it's something that needs to be,
We have the current, the policy is that it has to be within the limits of that grave. It can't be wider than that grave. But sometimes there could be some competition for space.
yeah, and there's a few places that it's,
And that's particularly so in South Berlin where we have the old lots. And we're selling small parts of them to people. Yeah,
I'm one of them.
Yeah, you're one of those.
I'm one of those
You're one.
people. Here, I felt your
Yeah.
gaze.
and sometimes there could be competition for the same space to put monuments in.
yeah.
As of the moment, it hasn't been a problem, but at the same time, we've got some close stuff. And I don't know, do we need to press for more marginal space around a monument?
I mean, shrink the monument. I think it needs to be
Considered?
considered, addressed, so come up with something.
Those are 39-inch,
39 at south, 40 at north,
yeah.
and you put a 36-inch base on it, and you can crowd somebody pretty quick that's next door.
40 at north?
40-inch graves.
Well, some of North, some of North has got
The new-
39.
Yeah, 30.
The old part is 39.
The new part is 40.
Well, I'm gonna suggest that at a future meeting, we do a site visit and look at a few examples and consider it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Or we could adjourn this meeting to one of the cemeteries and go look at some this afternoon.
We could do that.
Yeah, we can do that.
So 39, if it was, so if they're limited to 39 inches in width, so you could have stone to stone. You could end up with bases to base.
Just about, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And I think 36 is a common size. I mean, there's smaller ones, but 36 is a common size.
Yeah, if you're putting in, like, it's not so bad if you got 2 graves or 4
Yeah.
graves, but you get one,
If it's a
one,
single
one,
grave
one.
lot, it's tight. Well, we've just dealt with a couple in South Berlin that make you think about it.
Yeah.
So what did you put in South Berlin?
Well, we'll go look at it.
Okay.
The issue is just that. I mean, how
Yeah.
tight do we want those
Yeah.
things to be and what's fair to people?
If I'm gonna do this, I want to run home and grab my tape measure, which is like really easy for me to do because I'm right there.
Yeah.
I have a tape measure
Well, you
in my
might
car.
be able to accomplish that on your way to the South Berlin Cemetery.
I bet I could. I bet I could.
Actually, all of us could do that on
Yeah.
the way.
Yeah, we sure
Any of us
could.
We could stop on the way.
Yeah.
I keep a tape in my car.
Yeah.
I've been meaning to, but I switched cars. Excuse me.
Is there other business for us to deal with today?
Sounds good to me. Halloween? Do we need to talk about Halloween real quick?
Or about it?
Well, it's just that sometimes there's partying and vandalism and
Yeah,
Halloween.
well, the answer is the cemeteries are closed after dark, so.
Do we need to post that on the Berlin
No, but
pages?
that's the kind, if an issue arises, that's the answer.
I think I'm gonna post this.
The cemeteries are closed from dusk to dawn. They're open in daylight, and when it's dark, they're closed. And that's, most of the skullduggery is gonna happen in the dark. And that gives the police
Leverage.
a leverage if they have a case that they have to deal with. And that's maybe something we could quietly share with the chief of police,
I think that's a good idea.
especially since we have a new one this year,
Yeah.
that cemeteries are closed from dusk to dawn, and therefore Halloween after dark is keep out.
Is it a no-no?
Okay.
Okay,
Shall we move to adjourn?
yeah, I move, I'll
Did you second?
That was in the box. That's what we use for fuel. I don't know if it's from when to when. That was in the,
Yes. Yeah, that's going in the file. Well, that's a good, well, of course, they had to, once the grass started to grow, they had to clean up a lot of stuff.
yeah, and fuel is gone.
And fuel's gone.
Paul told me diesel fuel went up in
Yeah.
like a week or 10, went
All
up
right.
84 cents.
The motion, I'll accept the motion to adjourn the meeting to a site visit at the South Cemetery. Okay?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, we have a motion to that effect, and is there a second?
Second.
And that site visit will not include votes on anything, but rather a chance for us to view things and
So research.
discuss them a bit, and then at a future meeting, if we want to take an action, we will.
It's a fact-finding mission.
All those in favor of the adjournment?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous vote.